Hey everybody, welcome to the newest episode of Capital Combat. The name says it all. I'm Cain Branch,
Rob Jarrell.
and today we're going to recap UFC 166, which happened back in the day, like last week before last. But we had a lot of good fights on that card. We had John Dodson with a spectacular knockout on there. We had Gabriel Gonzaga, who also had a spectacular knockout on there.
Bang!
The Diego Sanchez-Gilbert Melendez fight was great, but the two we're going to talk about are the Daniel Cormier, Roy Nelson, and the rubber match between Cain, Velasquez, and Junior dos Santos. Those two were great matches as well, but those have the most ramifications because of the results. If that's the right word.
Yeah.
All right, great. So we're going to start with Cormier Nelson. Go ahead, Rob.
Okay, so I was kind of excited for this fight. I am a big Daniel Cormier fan. He's not the most athletic looking cat in the world, and he's pretty small for a heavyweight. He's only about 5'10", maybe 5'11", but he's about 220 or so pounds. But the guy knows how to fight. He's an all-American wrestler, and unexpectedly when I've seen, watched him fight when he was with Strikeforce and UFC, hands. He surprises so many people with not only his athleticism and his wrestling ability, but his hands. For him to have such a low center of gravity, strong legs, and hands, he is a problem. He has leverage over so many people. It was very crazy to see him out-wrestle Josh Barnett in the finals of the Strikeforce heavyweight tournament.
He manhandled Josh Barnett.
Again, very strange because Josh Barnett had about 30 pounds on him, and he's known as a jiu-jitsu specialist, can wrestle, and he just has a mean streak. And in this fight, he's going against Roy Nelson, who, let's face it, not one of Dana's favorites.
No, not at all. He looks like he just walked out of the mountains of West Virginia.
And it is what it is. He is Roy Nelson, but he has power in both hands. And he has put some cats to sleep.
A whole lot of cats.
And we know he has hands, and he was trained by, not for this fight, but he was trained in his boxing by Jeff Mayweather. So he knows what he's doing.
Oh yeah.
But against Cormier was just too athletic, too skilled, too quick. It's a lot of twos in there, and he put him to work on Roy Nelson.
Yeah. Roy Nelson looked really lost in this fight. I mean, I think he knew the only chance he had was to land a big punch. And since he couldn't do that, he was like, well, I'll just sit here and take this beating. Because he wasn't going to quit. And he was going to try and find that opening, but Cormier just didn't give it to him.
I was surprised. Well, I wasn't surprised, but it was kind of wild to see. In the first round, Cormier kind of really just took it to Roy Nelson. He showed the full package. I don't know if what he's showcasing himself for has got to be a championship fight for 205, because he's not going to fight at heavyweight because his boy and camp partner Cain Velasquez is the king of the mountain there.
Right.
So he pretty much just sold the entire toolbox. He took down Roy Nelson with ease. He was able to outland him, avoid all of Nelson's punches, and just return fire. He couldn't take him out in the 3 rounds that they had, but that's to be expected. Roy Nelson kind of does have an iron chin.
Yeah, he's really tough. I don't think he's been stopped before.
Nope. I don't even really being seriously hurt.
Yeah.
But the guy, I mean, it was a good fight. It was a good showcase for Daniel Cormier. He's going down to 205, which means he's going to be a big problem because that division is now restacking. I mean, with John Jones as the champ, then you have Alexander Gustafsson, who is good. He was just outclassed by Jones. You have Glover Teixeira, who is a problem.
Y'all heard me say that.
A problem. Because he has taken out some good fighters, and he has looked spectacular doing it.
Oh yeah. And
And Phil Davis. Can't forget Phil Davis. And of course, always present, Sugar Rashad Evans.
Yep. Rashad Evans is actually fighting Chael Sonnen at the UFC anniversary event. So we'll see what happens with that. And then Alexander Gustafsson is fighting Minotauro Nogueira in March. That should be a very good fight as well. It might be on the undercard of Jones Teixeira, but I think they said from what I read it's going to be on there like an England card. Either way, that's a good fight. You should check that out. I think they said March 8th. That's real far in the future for me.
I'm checking it out, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna check it out.
Yep, and we'll tell you all about it. But the one thing I did notice that I wasn't too fond of with Cormier is in that last round, he started to run the clock out. And that's a sign of a lack of conditioning. He was looking up at the clock a few times. He did it against Barnett and Mir. He did it again against Roy Nelson. If he's going to be in the championship rounds with someone like John Jones, that cardio is going to come into play. I think that's what separated John Jones from Gustafsson in this last fight. And that cardio is going to be very, very important for the championship rounds when the fight's on the line. Because I'm sure his Olympic level wrestling will beat John Jones's collegiate level wrestling. So he'll be able to take him down at will. Gustafsson was able to take John Jones down, but he really had to work for it.
That's right.
Cormier is going to house him. He's going to take him. He's going to toss him up in the air, throw him down. But he'll have to be able to do that in the late rounds as well when John Jones starts to come on strong with those kicks, elbows, and the takedowns of his own. And then John Jones also has pretty damn good jiu-jitsu. So that's going to be a fight to watch. We have to see if John Jones makes it past Glover Teixeira, because I don't think y'all heard us. He a problem.
A big one.
So we're going to be looking forward to that fight. We'll see who Cormier gets his shot against. I personally would rather see him against Jones because of, the hype behind Jones and we all love John Jones. Well, most of us love John Jones. Anyway, yeah. And that would be a really good fight to see. I don't think Teixeira is as well-rounded as John Jones or Daniel Cormier. He's just got some real good hands and some excellent jiu-jitsu. The wrestling department, not so much. But sometimes that don't matter when you got them hands. But let's move on from that and let's talk about the heavyweight title match between Cain Velasquez, the champ, and Junior Dos Santos, who was coming off a win of Mark Hunt with a nice little spin kick knockout to get a shot again. But this was just like the second fight, except with a finish.
That's right. Now, the one thing I thought that Cain Velasquez was going to do to Dos Santos was drag him into deep water. He just has, to me, superior functional strength and great cardio. I mean, the guy can go 5 rounds no problem against the best. I mean, and he could take you out, but his wrestling, his ability to put you up against the cage and keep you there, and to work that boxing on the inside, I mean, the dude works it to perfection. Dos Santos just doesn't have a well-rounded enough game to hang with Velasquez, because Velasquez, of course, great wrestler, All-American wrestling champ. Not only that, but his stand-up has gotten infinitely better since he's gotten in there. And of course, Hakeem pointed this out in the preview video, that Guerrilla Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, still hasn't used it. We don't know what it is.
But it's nice to have.
Yeah. I mean, Cain Velasquez has that Demetrius Johnson, Uriah Faber, Jose Aldo type of stamina. Like, this guy's just gonna keep coming. They've been hit. Those lighter guys that you just see always on the gas, always in your face, always trying to do something. He's not wrestling you, laying down on you, just controlling you. He's trying to beat you up. He's trying to get you out of there. And of his wins, I think only 2 fights have gone the distance. And I don't believe he has any submission wins. They're all knockouts. So people are really sleeping on his power. He doesn't have that one punch, bam, you're out type of power. The only person he did that to was Bigfoot Silva. But he has enough power that will wear you down and take you out, which he did to Dos Santos this time. You got anything else you want to add?
I mean, the other thing we have to point out with this guy and his training partner, Daniel Cormier, is that they're both just mentally strong. These guys, the look on their face, and everyone has that pre-fight face, but the look on this guy's face is quietly intense, which means he is focused and he's coming straight for you. And I mean, this is the 3rd time he's fought the guy, so you know he's first wanted revenge, then to prove a point.
Yeah, and he point proven. I mean, when Junior Dos Santos went to the middle of the cage to do his little point thing, that was intense in itself. But Cain Velasquez walks right up in his face like, "No, buddy, not in my house." And I was like, "What?" It was just so intense at that moment. Like, both those guys knew they wanted it. And I mean, honestly, Dos Santos came out and was putting some hands on Velasquez. He showed a much better chin. He didn't get, well, he got caught. It looked like he was hurt a couple times, but he got through it this time. He wasn't hurt as bad as he was like in the first fight. And another thing, like they talk about Dos Santos' boxing skills. Where was his jab? Where was his jab? That is the #1 key to boxing.
Hey, sometimes whatever works, works.
But that's the thing. It didn't work. So maybe throw a jab, man. I mean, you threw a few of them and they landed. It made Cain reset. How about you stick to it? You know, I don't know.
Hey, you got beat. Sorry.
Yeah. And I mean, Velasquez landed a couple nice jabs himself. But yeah, there was very few jabs in that fight. And I think the most of them came from Velasquez, which is surprising because Dos Santos was touted as the boxer. And that drove me crazy. But, you know, he had the power. He showed the power. It was just the motor of Velasquez, that tenacity, that relentlessness just carried him to the top.
It's too much. Everyone has come against it. Everyone has fallen. So, has to go off to Cain Velasquez. No clue who he's going to fight next.
I think he might get Barnett next. Barnett had a good showing. He never lost the title in the ring, well, in the octagon. He left after, I think he tested positive for a banned substance. He was like, screw this place, I'm out. Went over to the rec shop in Japan. So he might get the shot next, because really, maybe Gonzaga.
Possibly. They're gonna have to work on that, because I just don't see anyone that can take him just yet. But Barnett would definitely be a good choice to fight him next. Maybe if they give him one more fight and it's like, hey, we got to fight. Look at the guy returning to the UFC, wrecking shop. Now let's put him again against the best.
Right.
Remains to be seen. Who knows?
Yep. All right, guys. So that's all we got for you today. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you share it with your friends. And before we go, I want to send another shout out to my man Jamel Freeman, who gave us these nice shirts. Power Circle Fight Faction. He's a boxing manager and agent out of Virginia, building a nice stable of fighters. So if you're looking for representation, or you know somebody that is, I'll put his info in the description box, and you can join the Power Circle. So lastly, subscribe, because we got a lot of great videos. We got a lot of things that we're throwing through our heads that we're going to be bringing to you, and we are very sure that you're going to enjoy it. So once you share this with your friends, get them to subscribe too, and
leave comments.
Yes,
we like interacting with you all. Please leave comments. Ask questions. If you don't know, ask us. If we don't know, we'll find out.
That's right. Peace.
round one and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire, I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage, keep thinking that it's a game. I kick crime, hurricane. I told them I don't play, I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.